All right, cool. So, had some technical difficulties, but Will and I finally got it working. We're gonna do this. It's week three for our Sunday Fun Day League podcast, and today we've got special guest is Will. Say hello, Will.
What's up, guys?
So I'm very excited to have Will here because he was part of a big trade last week with previously Dax like
Yeah.
cocks on his face, but is
Yeah.
now injury reserve. You guys, let me just see if I got this right. You got Alvin Kamara and Cortland Sutton, correct?
Yes, which thankfully Corton Sutton is now in the IR, so it's always nice.
Right. And you gave up Melvin Gordon and Darren Waller. So go ahead and talk to us about this trade and why you guys decided to do
So
it.
yeah, so I mean, it really was a Waller Kamara kind of feel. That's what the trade was all about. He wanted a tight end because he was tired of tight ends kicking his ass, and so he was like, "I need a tight end," so he decided to go with him. And I know how Kamara is. Waller is an amazing player. He is a great player, but Kamara is a top two, top three running back, if not. Now he's the top two because Barkley's hurt. And to have a quarterback with him to combo it, that means more than likely I'm scoring every single time. If they're running it in, Kamara's probably scoring. If they're throwing it, Breed's probably scoring. So it's kind of like I'm banking on that offense that's supposed to be really strong, but they didn't have a good week last week. But anyways, so that's what my thought process was. Waller had an amazing game, but still, Kamara still had a better points, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, in that part of perspective, I liked it. I hated losing Gordon, but I thought with Lindsey maybe coming back in a couple weeks that they start going back to the share role. And he wanted a running back with it, and I had nobody except for those two with David Johnson, and should have gave up David Johnson. Looking forward now, but he just had a bad week, so I'll take that. But in things, I was going back and forth between who to get back, and Sutton is a number one, and just was injured, and he was supposed to be coming back, and he did, and then of course he got hurt,
No, got hurt
or I was going
again.
to
Yeah.
take Smith, the tight end for the Titans. I wish I had done that one. He had a big game. That was in the talks. We were in the talks with that, but it came down to I had already a Titan in the team, and I didn't want to go double Titan with the receivers because I have AJ Brown. So I was
Okay.
like, I'd rather just stick with somebody that's another Denver player, that's somebody different. So that's why I went with it. I thought it was a great move with that, but he actually got the best end because his two players are still playing,
Yeah.
basically.
You could make an argument now that you have the best running back in the league now that Christian McCaffrey is hurt too.
It's true.
So, you
It's
know,
true. Very true. Which was one of my deficits.
hmm.
And I did pick up a good tight end and left him on the bench. That was smart of me. But I have Hunter, and he had a good game too. Hunter Hurst had a good game, and
Hmm.
so I don't feel uncomfortable. Even though I know Waller had a lot of points, that was 1 week, and I think that Hunter's going to get me 18 to 20, so I'll take that.
That's cool. That's awesome. I still like your team, and picking up Kamara, I think is really good. What did the Wallers go for in our league?
Who was
See,
it?
I can pull it up here. So
Oh, he went to a 26. I think
twenty
I bought him for
six
26.
dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
then, of course, Kamara was like 54, something
yeah.
like that.
I mean,
Um, so as far as money, I got the best in the trade
yeah, I think so.
for that. But
I
we'll
think
see
so.
about production.
Money wise, definitely you got the best end of it. So let's just go ahead and get right into the games that we had last week.
Sure.
Um, I'll start off with the what I said would be the game of the week, and I think it held up its own. Well, maybe spreading the disease or priapism is probably better, but King McGee and Chalupa Batman. This one came down to the wire. We went into the Monday night game both with one player left to go. We're only 1.1 points apart. It was Derek Carr versus Jared Cook. And Derek Carr came out ahead. He scored 27 points, and Jared Cook only 12. So
Didn't think you were going to win that one.
you didn't think I
Going
was going to
into
win? Really?
Well, just only reason I say that was because Carr didn't show what he showed this week, and that defense had really shut down Brady last week.
Yes, it did.
Especially in the second half. So I thought, it would be really close because obviously a quarterback usually gets 14, 15 points, even in bad weeks. Throwing crap stuff at the end, but Cook couldn't get it started.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything on that offense. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a good week. Carr had an amazing week last week, so that was a good one for you, especially against Chalupa.
Yeah, Chalupa, man, 200 points on losing. That's a rough time. Had some players that came through for me. Kelsey did well. Surprisingly, Gibson somehow scored a touchdown and saved his day. Chalupa, her quarterbacks again just went off. Her running backs is we held it back in week 1, held her back in week 2 as well. But still, a super strong team. Would have gotten the win over the majority of the league.
Yep.
The next game, another divisional game between Elderly Gangbang and Hydroxychloroquine Kung Flu Destroyers.
You love saying that name. I know
that. It is a mouthful. And
yeah, it was a good game. I mean, I thought he jumped out so fast, and Dylan did, and his team was uncatchable at one point, and then they just did not perform at the end. As far as the last couple games that he had, so that sucked. I mean, Anderson had a game, and I think he had a touchdown call back too, so that would have been huge. But
Tom Brady's wide receivers were dropping balls left and right. I know because I was watching that game live. It was rough. There was like one where a guy was wide open, like on a 40-yard play, and it literally bounced off his helmet.
I know McCoy dropped one in the end zone too.
Scotty Miller dropped one in the end zone.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of drops and stuff. So yeah, it's Tom Brady let him down, but I don't think it was Tom Brady's fault on that one. Jonathan Taylor and now Dalvin Cook, his running backs are strong. Adam Thielen is who's really let him down. I mean, his guy.
Well, I thought for sure he was going to have a great year. I was battling for Thielen because I thought he was going to be the guy, but he is. I mean, maybe put in the quarterback, but that Minnesota team doesn't look good. I don't know why.
But good news for this team is James Conner came back. He scored points. He was on the bench, but that's good. Looking forward that he will be able to trust them. And then on the other side, we got Elderly Gangbang, which is unstoppable. This team has been really strong. Almost 200 points this week. Just again, really great performances from his 2 young quarterbacks. Just going off. Derrick Henry hasn't hit a stride yet, but when he does, that will be scary. It's got DeAndre Hopkins, which I think is probably going to be the number 1 wide receiver this year, and Stephon Diggs.
I hope that Henry does not get a good start next week.
Oh, you play him next week, yeah?
I play him next week, so I'm hoping for a bad week. And Allen's had some good matchups, easy matchups to start. He's got a tough one coming up. I forgot the team now. But he's got a tough one coming up next week where, it's going to be a much different day for him. We'll see what happens, but he had an amazing day against Miami.
And I try to trade with him this week, and it's impossible to trade with this guy. It really is. Like, he has to be absolutely bending you over the table for him to pull a trade. Like, it is. He wants Chris Carson, right? I forgot what his original trade offer was, and I came back. Okay, if you want Chris Carson, you're gonna have to give me Ronald Jones, Jared Goff, and Stephon Diggs. Like, it's gonna have to be a 3-for-1 because I'm not giving up a stud running back for nothing.
Of course.
And then he's like, "No, we're just gonna do it. Ronald Jones for Chris Carson." Okay, buddy. Yeah. All right, good talk, fun. All right,
next get 2 out of
it. He was gonna try to throw in Jared Goff later too. It's trying to talk it up, but it's just like I already have quarterbacks. I don't So that's not
Yeah,
going to do it for me. I need Stephon Diggs too, which I really like, and I can understand why he's not going to give up Stephon Diggs. I'm not blaming him for that. I'm blaming him for like the
everything
stupid
else. Yeah.
low ball offer.
Well, he's got the quarterback receiver connection. He's not. I don't think he's giving that up.
So next game is injury reserve. Came over the top on a waste of
He got
$100.
lucky. Got lucky this week. I
I
mean, I know he says it's a waste of $100, but can he like can he see what's going on? I mean, obviously Tyrod Taylor, that's not his fault. That was I don't know when they said
yeah
that, but that
yeah
was I mean, now you heard the news now they punctured his lung. Did you hear that?
yeah. We just heard
That's
just
crazy.
talking about it on the group meet before we started this. A-
Jeez, it's
And then
crazy.
he went out, got Brown from the waiver wire, spent a bunch of money, got hurt. Devontae
Yeah.
Adams got hurt. George Kittle still out. And this was supposed to be like the prove yourselves that you're not a shit team game, come back.
Mhm.
And neither managed to do it. And
No.
it's because of injuries. So like you really look
Oh
at these
yeah.
teams, it's because of injuries. Both teams got super hurt. It's just sad.
Yeah, I mean, he's injured reserve. I mean, Barkley getting
Yeah,
hurt,
just losing him for
and
the
then of
season.
course trading me his other receiver. He had the two best running backs basically, other than McCaffrey, and he gave one to me, and then the next one gets hurt. Just unlucky when it comes to that. So I know that he was playing the waiver wire, today, and so was a bunch of people. We'll talk about that, I guess, in a little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll talk about that in a bit for sure.
But that's what it's all about, kind of thing. And that was the one thing I didn't have to do this week. Really, my team, for the most part, I don't have as crazy amount of injuries, so I haven't had to play that one. But I know I will be soon, definitely with the buys coming up.
Yeah, man, Darren Waller, 40 points. That's gotta hurt
Oh
for you
yeah.
to see that.
Well, I mean, I was just glad that Kamara had 40 points too, so I didn't feel
Yeah,
as bad.
that's
But
true.
but at the same time, yeah, I mean, it's he. They just kept going to him. Like, could you stop?
That was a good
But
trade. I think it was a good trade for both of you. It's
yeah. But I mean, I bet him during the game that he get 5 catches. So when he gets like 12, it's an easy money game.
And then we'll go right on to your game. You got
Okay.
beaten out by 10 points from Martial Law against
Mhm.
Midnight Rolling Jet Flying Wheeling Dealing Son of a Gun. Um, yeah, you had Alvin Kamara go 41. Your quarterbacks are right around 20, right around that average point scored
Mhm.
for quarterbacks, I think. Um,
It
David
didn't help
Johnson.
that Moister got an 80-yard touchdown first play of the game,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh, great.
You're lucky he got hurt.
I
Dude is
know. And
probably
then
going
of
to have
course
a second
Montgomery
80-yard touchdown.
got hurt at halftime,
Hmm.
and it said that he was doubtful. And at the time, I think he had like 18 points, something like that, maybe 16 points. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get two running backs that are just going crazy.
Hmm.
And then they came back, and he was catching everything and doing all that stuff. And I was like, come on, stop it. The Ingram Jones thing, I hate. I hate that in fantasy because they're down and they just get those crap. The defense is playing back, and they're
Yeah,
like 17 to
that
three.
shell defense where they're just letting everything
Yeah,
underneath.
and so the Ingram was getting catch
Yeah.
every. He had one catch until the fourth quarter, and then he had 7 targets, and he had
Mm.
6 of the caught. So
Mm.
that right there is what I lost is
Yeah.
Ingram. If Ingram gets his 8 points, then I
Right.
win. Kind of thing. So or close to it. I lose by a little bit, but that was bad. And then of course Johnson didn't have a good game. So um, but I mean, and then Ty, gosh,
Ty let you
trusted him
down big
twice,
time.
and
Yeah.
he's breaking my heart. So I'm
Juju
just glad I
didn't
didn't go
catch a
with Fuller.
touchdown. Yeah. Well,
Fuller got 0.
zero burger. That's rough. I possibly have been too harsh on Rob and his martial law team when we doo-dooed on him a lot during the draft, but this game kind of proved that his team is kind of good. They still got
They
it.
are,
Uh,
and Cup had a good game, which he didn't have last week, so that was good.
and now to go to the giant blowout of a game. I believe Dylan hit us up and let us know that this was a record-breaking blowout. We got Breaker Chains over Sean as my fantasy sensei, and yeah, Breaker Chains did not like losing last week, and he came out and scored 237. Had he played his optimal lineup, he would have beat his own record, which is the league record for most points scored in a single game. I believe it's 251. His optimal lineup would have been 257. So monster week, just monster week.
Yes, had a great week, and it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt that you're playing Audie this week because McCaffrey goes down.
Yeah,
I guess it was 3 quarters, but he still didn't have he still wasn't running the ball. They can't run the ball.
Another thing we were talking about during the draft is, my goodness, can you imagine if like one of his superstars get hurt? Oh, look at that! He's got two of his superstars hurt now,
Yeah.
and yeah, the team is done. That's like that's so hard, man. The team, but his team is probably done for the season. Maybe he can pull out a miracle, and I hope he goes for it and tries something crazy to bring this thing back. But that's rough.
I can take full disadvantages. I told him in a text. I said that Aku, the rookie wide receiver from San Francisco, was playing, and everything had said that he was going to be the guy. And so I told him about it, and he took Cobb out.
Put him in.
And Cobb had a decent game. Obviously it was only like 7 or 8 points. So would it affected it? No, of course not. But at the same time, I feel bad I said something because he changed his lineup for it.
In our last game, which was an absolute stunner of a game as well. It as the previously known as "Do You Feel Lucking Puck" is now spreading the disease. I guess the man's got the corona and he's going to bars and kissing people.
That's good.
And against Priapism, I thought for sure Priapism would go ahead and just absolutely destroy this game. Cam Newton had other ideas though.
Yes, I mean that's basically it.
Cam Newton and Aaron Jones was like half of his man's points almost.
Yeah, it was. So, I mean, he had an amazing week, and so we feel bad for Gary, but at the same time, that's what happens. At least for Gary, Eckler finally had a better game, and I guess and Edwards did not. So there you go.
I mean, it's like he scored 208 points, right? 208 points. Yeah. Like it's when you lose scoring 208, it's like what you can do is just okay. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I just hope that Primus Boy doesn't get any injuries because
this bench is so bad.
The bench is not looking good, my friend. The bench
that bench is harsh. So bad.
But his starters are good. He's got a great starting team.
He's got a great team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Minshew's come out of nowhere, playing amazing football. His wide receivers are great. His running backs are good. Josh Jacobs, maybe we could make a trade for him. I was thinking about it, trying to offer him some trades for Josh Jacobs. I like him a lot. But yeah, man, spreading the disease came out. It's 2-0 thanks to this. So let's go ahead and check out our standings after these heartbreaking games. Over in the Waterboy division, we have Martian Law and you, Midnight Rolling, are both tied at 1-1 at the top, with Ariel, which just seems like the freebie wins at the bottom there.
I'm just so glad I get to play him twice. It helps me out.
Yeah, and for the people that aren't aware, the first 3 weeks of the season, or what we call like the rivalry weeks. Okay, so like there are two sessions of rivalry weeks. It's the first 3 weeks of the season and the last 3 weeks. So in the first 3 weeks, you're gonna have 2 games against one division mate, and one of the games is gonna be against another random. So next week is gonna be the last rivalry week games. So if you have noticed, I am playing my division mates. That's why. It's because we're in rivalry weeks right now.
I think Martian Law is gonna win next week. I don't know why. I just have a feeling. that he might win against Sean's My Fantasy Sensei. So
Yeah. So next week we can come back and we can see, okay, after these first 3 weeks, these rivalry weeks where we played each other, who's on top, who's on bottom, will be more interesting. But in the Little Giants, division is pretty strong. Only 2 losses in the division, and spreading the diseases is on top. Will be very interesting to see what goes on with this. These 3 teams are stronger than what we anticipated, especially spreading the diseases and Priapism Boy.
mhm.
We did after the draft. We did not give these 2 teams any credit at all, and they've come out and they've proven us all wrong. And then on the exact opposite of that, we thought, you know what, this division is going to be like the really tough division, which remember the Titans division. Um, and again, waste of $100. This team's gotten hurt, and he's been absolute nothing. And Chalupa Batman is like 391 points scored on average, and
Highest points scored, best record against anybody. If it was broken down, and she's 0-2.
yeah, she's
So
on
that's how
too.
fantasy goes.
It's oh, I mean it's good for me though because I'm 2-0 and versus
Yeah.
0-2 teams. That's fantastic. I'm getting a great start on them. And the Rudy division, we got Elderly Gangbang, the Breaker of Chains, and Hydroxychloroquine, and that's another situation where only 2 losses on this
Mhm.
division. Which uh, again, I called Holden's team the best team in the league after the draft. He's had a fantastic start, and Breaker of Chains is after this week's. He's scored a lot of points this week. I mean, he's coming out for vengeance, and Dylan's not that far behind him. Not that far behind him at all. Um, but while we're staring at these rankings, I had previously talked to you about. Let's see here. We can go ahead and bring this one up. Possibly a different way to do tiebreakers, or maybe even a different way to. Um, Let me share my screen with you so you can see my little notepad that I brought up.
Okay, perfect.
Share that little notepad with you. So yeah, basically, I was thinking I threw around this idea last year. We never really had much of a conversation on it, and we never really did a vote. And I'm thinking about throwing out this idea for a vote at the end of this season for next season. So the basic idea is a way to either use this as a tiebreaker for, let's say, when your win losses are tied, or if people really, really like the idea after we have some conversations, maybe we can use it as how you determine playoffs and you can choose win loss as a tiebreaker. Um, but the basic principle is like a tally point system where you have 3 different ways that you can get 1 point every week. Okay. So the first way you can get a point is if you win your game. You win your head to head matchup, you get a point. The second way you can get a point is if you score in the top half of the league. So we have 12 teams. If you're in the top 6 teams in scoring that week, you get another point. And the final way to get a point is if you are the highest scoring team of the week. So the team that absolutely gets the highest points that week just dominates. They will 100% get 3 points that week, and as a reward for doing so well that week. Um, and this is a way, to kind of like balance out the variance of for the teams that have been unlucky. For example, Chalupa Batman, which has performed really well but hasn't performed. So I went ahead and I looked at week 1 and week 2, and I already had started a little tally. I'm going to be keeping track of this all season. And we could compare how the tally system would have worked and how win-loss system would have worked at the end of the season. And we can talk about it then. But I just wanted to bring up that this is what I'm going to be doing. And do you have any thoughts on this at all, Will?
Yeah, I mean, like obviously when we think about this as a general football or sports related item, you'd always go, of course, win loss and against your division and all that kind of stuff. That's great, but obviously it's fantasy football. It changes week to week. You can have a great week, you can have a poor week, kind of thing. And so this way, the variance is taken out because you are the better team. If you are the better team, you're going to score points. whether you win or lose, in Chalupa Batman's fault, not her fault, but just in general, it's like she lost, but she's still one of the best teams. And
Hmm.
so when it comes down to who should get in, we want the best teams in. So I think it's a great idea because it gives the ability for everybody to strive for something, kind of thing. Even the teams that are not doing well and haven't won, they can still earn those points to get to that part of, maybe if I tie somebody, it's not based upon my division ranking or that kind of stuff. It's based upon where we're at, kind of thing. So I think it's a great idea.
Do you think it would be better used as a tiebreaker or as the official way to determine playoffs entrances?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's always good to think about having the best teams, but as we know in sports, not all the best teams go.
Hmm.
So I would say that this would be more of a tiebreaker thing where if we have a bunch of teams, maybe even like a wild card, you have the best team in the league, like we have right now, two best teams, and then we have a wild card team or two wild card teams, whatever. This could be the breaker for the wild card. Okay, well,
Oh, so instead
you
of
for
using it as a tiebreaker, you would use it as to determine what the two wildcard teams would be strictly?
You could do that, or you could just do it as a tiebreaker. I would say
Hmm.
either or. I think that's probably where the vote would be. I wouldn't want to take it where this is the only set, kind of thing,
Right,
because,
right.
like you said, it's so much variance in the league, where I could have 6 or 8 weeks of dominance.
Hmm.
Not dominance as far as making number one in points, but lose some of those weeks and only get a point, and then I have a couple crappy weeks, and I'm done, kind of thing. But I was one of the highest scoring teams. It just didn't show up that week,
Right.
week to week sometimes. So obviously consistency is important, but I think that if we did it as a tiebreaker to start, I think it would get people to understand what it is, and then maybe have the ability to bring it into deciding playoff spots after a division
After
winner.
a tiebreaker season,
Yeah.
right? So people kind of understand what it is. I can feel that. I think that might be a good idea. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and go over. So I already went, like I said, and did what things would look like if we, as in determining our positioning. And just like we were saying, Chalupa Batman had 2 weeks where she lost, but she was on the top half in scoring on those 2 weeks that she lost. So she would actually, instead of having absolutely zero power into going to playoff, she would have 2 points, which is like I'm only 1 point ahead of her because the week one I won my game, but I was not in top half in scoring, so I only got 1 point that week. This week I got 2 points because I was in top half and I won. So I would have three, she would have two, and waste of $100 would have zero because lost and did nothing. So that's how it would work. And then in Rudy, we have two very dominant teams. Breaker Chains only got 1 point last on the first week, but last week he was the number one team. He got 3 points that week, which brought him up to four. And Elderly Gangbang also has four because he won and top half in scoring both weeks. So 4 points is like boom right there, man. That's really strong. And Dylan, unfortunately, did not do much last week, so he has 2 points. 2 points from week one, 0 points from week two. And you guys can just see, right? Like a Waterboy, the weakest division right now, unfortunately, is you would be on top with 2 points. You got win and top half of the league in week one, but you got zero in week two. Uh, Martial Law only's got 1 point. Fantasy Sensei's got zero. And Little Giants, we got Priapism with four, Disease with three, and Injury Reserve with only 1 point. So, again, I'm going to be keeping up with this tally. I'm going to be go ahead and adding it every week, and we can just see what it looks like at the end of the year and compare, and I think it'll be interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at the power rankings now. See what Dylan's fancy AI has brought us to. See what's going on. So, whoa, I made myself. We got Elderly Gangbang here as the number one team, and Breaker Chains as the number two, even though he's only 1-1. And again, those are two very high scoring points, and Priapism Boy at number three, also very high scoring. And I'm at 198 in fourth place. So the computer is putting me in fourth place because it thinks my roster sucks, and I've just been gotten lucky. Basically, it thinks my roster is seventh place roster. It's saying Breaker Chains has the best roster, so that's why it's putting me at these spots. But anyway, regardless, these top four teams have a very good chance of getting into the playoffs. And you're right there, number five. No longer do you feel lucky. He's changed his name to the Z Spreader.
Well, you can kind of see though from the top four down how different it is. If you look at the power rank score, I mean it's very tight, especially between Elderly Gangbang and Breaker of Chains. You know, they're really close, and then of course, you know, you're all basically in the top three, you know, kind of thing.
And
where
but you look down here at Chalupa Batman at number 9. It's 196 points, but at number 9. Like with an overall win, 15-7. Like, man, that's rough. That is so rough. Sean's my fantasy sensei. Like this, there's one team that you can say, yep, definitely in the right spot. Sean is my fantasy sensei for 12. He is 1-21, meaning if he played every single person, every single
he
week,
would have won
one game.
he would have won a game.
He would have beaten one person.
Wow.
Yeah, out of 22 games. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, it's really weird to see like injured reserve or, you know, I was touting him as the best draft kind of thing. And then, you know, obviously injuries have hurt, but it's just crazy to be that far down. And as it says, number 11 in roster strength, which is crazy.
Man. I didn't know that the power ranking over time had us on, let's see. How do I turn this one off? There you go. I didn't know the power ranking over time had us and gave us a preseason start as well.
Yeah.
I didn't know they gave us that one. That's cool.
Yeah.
Apparently, Martian Law was the number 1 team, but after week 1, they were like, nope, we're wrong.
Yeah. That is funny.
But Sean's my fantasy sensei at 12 all the way through. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at what people did to try and change our transactions this week, because there was a lot of fab money spent. A lot of fab money.
You want to go to the number 1 fab money?
Yeah. Devontae Freeman for $150.
I mean, I understand that Devontae Freeman is a great running back, and he's going to a team that needs a running back, but that's a big risk.
Especially considering he could have just spent $17 and got him.
I mean, I feel like in general, I think I would have said to myself, $50 probably gonna get him, you know, kind of thing.
He's joining the team so late, and the team already has other running backs. I could be eating these words. I mean, I really could. I mean, could come out and be great. I just don't see it. And the man spent all of his fab, like literally every dollar on him.
I know. I mean, it's week 3. I mean, obviously, you don't want to hold, as we talked about before, hold on to your money and then you just wasted money at the end. But, I mean, that was just a lot. It's a lot of money spent there.
Fantasy Sensei was $62.
I mean, that's good. He was in the market.
Lewis. And then again, Deion Lewis and Devontae Freeman are going to be fighting for each other for playing time. Jarek McKinnon from 51. This one I can understand. And the market obviously agrees with you, with Sean of my fantasy sensei putting up 41, Martial Law 35. So 51 for Jarek McKinnon. I can see that. With Mostert out, Jarek McKinnon's good. Yeah. I can understand that more than the other ones. But Frank Gore by himself, $48 as a starting running back for the Jets. The Jets, man, you never get a running back on the shittiest team in the league. You just don't do it. Just don't do it.
And they just don't. they don't have an offensive line. You know, that's the problem. It's like that's the same thing with the Giants. The Giants and them both, and it's not like Frank Gore is a ball catcher.
N'Keal Harry for $47 by Hydroxyclean. Obviously came out. He had a lot of targets. Maybe.
Well,
Justin Herbert thing. That's probably a good pickup.
The Herbert thing, I was gonna bid, I think 5 on him, And I was like, maybe that's too much. Because I don't need a third quarterback. It was just more for, if
Yeah,
if I needed an injury or obviously it was, I don't think I'd start him unless, of course, like, I mean, he had a great week last week, but
did.
I didn't think he was going to be the starter. Of course, today changes everything. But like, I felt like that was a reach, but now it's not. Now it's not a reach at all.
Hmm. Brandon Cooks for 43. I can see that.
I
Well,
feel bad
for
about that because I dropped him. So I'm
yeah,
like, I wish I would have just traded and held
just
on to him.
yeah, you probably could have found a trade if you
Probably
pinched
should have.
people. Mike Davis for 34. I'm surprised that nobody else bid on him.
I'm so sorry for them because he bid 34 and nobody else did, so he could have had him for 0.
Yeah, yeah, but still, like Mike Davis, I think out of the running back, Mike Davis and Jarek McKinnick are probably the two that would have want the most.
Mm-hmm.
I was by myself spending $9 from O'Alley Cox, just in case it's not a 1 week fluke. I can have another tight end I can play in my flex, or when Kelsey's gone, I wanted that
Yeah.
security blanket, so I picked him up
I
just in
mean,
case.
he stole the catches from Ty last week, so
Hmm.
I guess definitely take that. And
And then here's
yeah,
an interesting one. So Dalton Schultz went for $6, even though injury reserve bid 11. But injury reserve did not have enough money because he spent 46 on Herbert, so he did not have enough money to win this one. So waste of $100 actually won it for 6 for on
crazy.
Dalton Schultz. Uh,
I
Christopher
saw
Hearn got dropped.
Jordan Atkins got one.
People are dropping their kickers.
Yeah, I saw that, and in fact, I'm headed for one of them. See if I could just get an extra kicker just in case.
Yeah.
Because I have an IR spot now that I can open up and just get somebody in there in case, because I don't want to drop my kicker
Yeah.
when it comes down to it.
For the people that haven't noticed this yet, kickers in our league is like a quarterback in standard leagues. It's
Yes.
kind of like you either pay up and you have like that one elite guy like Justin Tucker. Like Justin Tucker is just a beast. So you either have pay up, have that one guy, or you're just like constantly playing the waiver wire trying to find which kicker has the best matchup from week to week. They're going to be on the
Yeah.
waiver wires, and you just if you can outmaneuver and find the right matchups, you can have good kickers like all season long without spending any money on them.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a lot of playing. It takes a lot of. I personally rather just have Harrison Bucker like I have on my team and just continue
Right.
pub. Yeah, man. You got some more time, or are we gonna have to cut it? Because we are at 38 minutes. So
If
still,
you want to just look at the next week, I can do next week
yeah, let's do
as
next
far
week.
as stuff.
So this week, let's just start with my game, 2-2-0 teams. Myself versus it's a non-division game, King McGee versus Spreading the Disease. And he did the sneaky thing where he put all his starting players or all on the bench and all his weak players on the start to make it seem like he doesn't have a good projection this week. He's trying to play 9 games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think this one's going to come down to, personally, I think this game is going to come down to if Leonard Fournette gets real volume in the running game this week. After, because in the Tampa Bay game, Ronald Jones fumbled. Leonard Fournette came in, absolutely balled out when they gave him the chance. And I'm betting on the fact that he will come out as the starter this week now that he had more than 2 weeks of practice with the team. Running back is not that hard to get into. I'm guessing he's going to get 55-60% of the snaps, and at least I'm hoping, and dominate this game. And I think that will be the real difference maker. If he doesn't have a good game, I think I lose because I think this game is going to be really close. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard because he's got all those people messed up. But I don't obviously. I think last week though he got really helped out by Jones, having just an unbelievable week, and I think that New Orleans game, it's going to be a high scoring game. We'll see. I got the 2 quarterbacks, so I hope it is. So that could be hurtful for you. But I for some reason, it just looks like the way that they've been going. I think they're going to start getting Gronk back into the mix. So I think
Think so?
that's actually, I think that's going to be something where you might see this week. It's going to be that week where he has a better game. Do I think he's going to get like Waller numbers? Heck no. But
No.
I think he'll get 10 points finally, maybe. But I mean, your hardest thing is you got Kelsey against Baltimore. You know,
And that
they've
could be
been,
good or bad because Baltimore's been good against tight ends. Oh no, they haven't
mm,
actually. They haven't been good against tight ends
oh, they
this
haven't?
year.
Okay.
They have not.
Well, there
No.
you go. Well, I mean,
23rd in our league. So yeah, I mean, it could be a high scoring game, Baltimore versus Kansas City. So I don't know. Maybe
mm,
Kelsey drops another 30-point game. Who knows?
yeah, I mean, I think I like more of your matchups. Except the only thing I don't like is Watson against Pittsburgh. Other than that, I think everything else looks good because
Yeah,
Carson Dallas, I think, is gonna be high scoring. It's gonna be a lot of touchdowns, I think, in that game. So,
yeah. I'm
but
thinking about putting their car in that spot. I was debating it. Right now, I got
yeah,
Watson there.
New
I may
England's
change my
defense
mind.
is not playing what they should be, what they had played in the past. So that's
Yeah,
going to be a tough one for you, definitely,
yeah.
decision
I'll
wise.
probably be thinking about it all the way until game time, and I'll make my real decision then.
Gotcha. Well, Thursday you have one, and then you have two. Well, I don't know if you'll start Parker, but you have at least one
Yeah.
playing,
No,
and
I think I'm gonna lock in Parker and Ryan Fitzpatrick. I
gotcha.
did pick up somebody, did I not pick up Keelan Cole?
It's probably not on here yet.
Did I not pick up Keelan Cole? I thought I picked up Keelan Cole. Maybe I didn't pick up Keelan Cole. No, I picked up Mo Alley Cox. That's what I picked up.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is Keelan Cole
it
still out
just
here? Who picked him up? Yeah, somebody else picked him up. I'm
gotcha.
stupid. Stupid. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a really close match. I think I win though. Next game is
I think so. Yeah.
Martial Law versus Sean as my fantasy sensei. What were you gonna say?
I know. I was gonna say I think so too. I think
Yeah,
that he had a great week last week, and I don't know if he's gonna get the production he had last week.
yeah, and I mean, I don't even know why we should go over this game. Martial Law is gonna
No,
win.
I mean it sucks for Adi. I got two of his best players, and I don't you know I he did play waiver wire, but it's not enough. I mean, he's gonna start Burkhead.
And then we got Hydroxychloroquine Kung Fu Destroyers and the Breaker of Chains. This is game of the week right here, in my opinion. It's a division
Yeah,
game. Both teams are 1-1. It's both good teams, both high scoring teams. It's gonna be a good one for sure. The question is Dalvin Cook and running on that Tennessee defense. How is Big Ben gonna play against Houston? And can Tom Brady finally put up some points? Like those are the big ones for me on the Dylan side.
yeah, and can Dak get that same production he did last week? I mean,
Hmm.
it should be a high scoring game. And then
I mean,
you
Dak was
know,
playing against like a super Swiss cheese defense. Like on daily fantasy football, I had Dak in like all my lineups pretty much because I just knew he was going to blow up.
and
Against Seahawks might be different.
if Trubisky's gonna have the game he had last game, kind of thing. So that's I think right here, just looking at it, I think I'd take Dylan's team. Yeah, I think I take Dylan's team to win this game.
Yeah, I don't like Breakers matchups. I really don't like Breakers matchups. So yeah, I'll take Hydroxy as well. Take Hydroxy as well. Breaker Chains matchups aren't looking too good for me. And next game is a non-divisional game. It'll be your game, Elderly Gangbang versus Midnight Rolling.
Should be a tight one.
Should be another tight game, another very tight
Tight
game.
game. For me, it's gonna make all the sense on Sunday night. Sunday night's gonna be the way. If they do play well, I'll have a good chance. But if not, the cool thing about this is that we're all playing only on Sunday. So like there's no
Right.
Thursday night game. There's I might change my lineup a little bit, but out of my lineup there's nobody that is going in that's not a Sunday.
Right.
Same thing with him. So, we're going to be in and out on Sunday. So
Yeah,
that's kind of
you'll know
nice.
what's up. That's
Um, so yeah, that's going to be good for me. So I don't know, like overall, it's I hate that Murray's playing Detroit. I mean,
yeah.
that's killer. But Allen against the Rams, that's something he's not seen before. That defensive front is going to be attacking him. So we'll see what that happens. But overall, his matchups,
Still starting
I feel
Zach
like his
Moss.
matchups are better than mine. That's for sure.
Is he really gonna start Zach Moss, or you just have him there for?
I mean, I think he'll probably. I guess he's got to start Ronald Jones. Maybe not.
He could start Naheem Hines. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think how Naheem Hines is gonna.
He had a bad week last week, but whatever.
Yeah, but the Indianapolis Colts, man, like they are gonna run the ball this game and not pass the ball, so that's not good for Naheem Hines.
True.
So yeah, I don't know if you could play him.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just about David Johnson. Is he gonna actually run the ball against Pittsburgh? I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I honestly, I like him when they dump off to him. It seems like when they dump, like when Watson dumps off the ball to David Johnson, good things happens. So maybe we can see more of that instead of them running the ball. They can run through the air with like these short passes, these short dump offs to him.
My thing is if Kittle plays. Kittle doesn't play, which I don't know if he will, because the thing they said is supposed to be 2 to 3 weeks. Then I'm starting Reed.
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
And,
True.
And Reed against the Giants, that'll be bigger than. And I think that's my hardest pick is do I give up on Hilton this week against the Jets because they're going to run the ball, or do I take somebody else out, kind of thing, which I don't think I can touch the top 3 that I have. So maybe Beckham. I don't know. He's just getting so many targets.
I think he can pull off the upset here. It's going to be a tight one. I think his team is really good. Mainly his wide receivers are just stupid good, and his quarterbacks have been blowing it up. That's what's kept them so strong. But I think his quarterback matchups aren't. I mean, Murray's probably going to do really well, but you also have the quarterback matchups on your side on that Sunday night game, where I think there's going to be a lot of points scored that game, and that's what's going to give you the shot. I think you were right on that Sunday night matchup is going to be the deciding factor for sure.
Yeah.
And then we got Chalupa Batman versus a waste of $100. I think this is where Chalupa gets her first W.
Yeah, I think this is the one. This it shows that they're close as far as points, but Chalupa just seems to always overperform the expectations when it comes to her point total. So, I mean, Julio probably won't play.
She's got CeeDee Lamb, who's been great.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb has been really good. You could play him instead.
Yeah, and then the question is again with waste of 100, does Kittle play?
Yeah, that's a big one.
If he does play,
and if he does play, is he going to play a lot of snaps? Is he actually going to contribute?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping no. But we'll see. And is Adams gonna play? Yeah, he should play. I mean, it was just a hamstring, but he might not. If he doesn't play, what does he have? Fitzgerald, Ross, I guess.
Yeah, I like his running back matchups, to be honest, but I still think Chalupa takes it.
Yeah, I do too.
And then Priapism Boy versus Injury Reserve, and Priapism always does this. He puts everything on the bench and only puts them in at the last moment. So now we have to
thinking about what he can have. Well, I mean, you obviously know he's going to start his 2 Chiefs and Jacobs. That's and Eckler probably too.
The calf probably starting him. Yeah, probably.
He's definitely not starting the people on his team. Those 2 guys won't start. He'll start Minshew, so Minshew playing this week.
Probably start Stafford.
Yeah, probably start Stafford because he's going to have to throw because they'll probably be down.
Yeah.
Metcalf. I wonder if he'll start Ruggs or 2 tight ends.
Probably two
Does he have
tight
a second tight
ends.
end? Oh,
I
wait,
mean, you got
is it?
Atkins.
Oh, Atkins. That's right.
Got Atkins.
So that might be. Does he start Ruggs or does he start Atkins? Obviously, Ruggs had an amazing first week or a good first week, not a great second week, so possible. Let's go to a team like nice to see though.
And injury
Uh,
reserve.
He's got the Jags running back who had a good week last week, but hopefully Godwin gets to play. That'd be good for him.
I think Godwin plays this week. He's out of the concussion protocol. He's in against Denver. I think this is going to be a big game for Godwin.
He looks like he's going to start. We'll start Herbert because he doesn't want to start Cousins. I remember him saying that in the chat. Deshaun Jackson always such a bang or bust. He's never
I was expecting good things from him this year, and they just haven't hit on any long passes. I think that's what it is. It's the problem. The problem with Philadelphia right now, the problem with Deshaun Jackson really is that the Philadelphia Eagles' offensive line is so bad that Carson Wentz doesn't have time to throw. So they can't make those big plays that Deshaun Jackson relies on. So they've been giving him the ball a lot underneath, but it hasn't really turned out too much. So yeah, it's just rough on Philadelphia, that offensive line being so banged up. It's everyone on that team is suffering because of it.
I think Priya Prism has this. I think this is
so too.
A slam dunk for this week, only because the injuries are just way too much and too mounting that he can win that game.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's just the better team overall. Even without the injuries, I think Priya Prism is probably a better team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's that, man. Anything else you want to cover?
No. I'm actually going to release another case tonight. As far as at midnight, I'll release another video talking about an elderly gangbang and our battle this week. So I'm excited about that. And so yeah, always happy to be here. Thanks a lot for having me, Guy.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we'll see you again sometimes this season. I'm sure I'm going to be hitting you up for more videos.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much, Will. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.